Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Xbox Casuals, the Xbox podcast. One of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, he's on everything and is always an Xbox, Josh Finney.
I think according to the new infographic released today, I might be a bento box.
Oh.
I own a cat box.
Ooh. Wow.
Hi, Corey.
Hi, Josh. How are you?
It's been a week.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir, buddy. It's been
a stressful week over here for reasons other than what we discussed on Tower Casuals last week. Of course, you guys can listen to that our stance on absolutely everything that happened last week in America. But a good kind of busy this week. Had a couple job interviews. Sent some more resumes, had some phone screens, so we're gonna cross our fingers and hope to God that I get hired. But yeah, it's been a busy week. I'm tired and I'm ready for the weekend.
Yeah, it's been I'm tired, man. It's been one of those weird weeks. It's been busy. It's been exhausting to say the least.
It really has been. Have you been playing anything fun this week?
Have I been playing anything fun? No. I honestly haven't played. I really haven't played anything except for the Call of Duty campaign. And that it was pretty good. It was good. I recommend. I will say that.
Well, I'm gonna take the microphone for a few minutes then.
Yeah, you here, pass. I
gotta talk about what is probably going to end up as my runner-up for Game of the Year.
Ooh.
Dragon Age Veilguard.
Ooh.
I did not expect to love this game the way that I did. We all remember how much I lambasted the CG trailer that was shown at the Xbox Games Showcase. And almost immediately after that, all the reactions were positive. They did a behind closed doors demo there, and I just couldn't get over how you didn't show actual gameplay in the initial trailer. This game is awesome from the get-go.
Nice.
I really love it. So I will say right now, I am in the final stretch of the game. I have hit the point of no return. I will probably finish it up either tomorrow or Saturday. I can say I've finished all the companion quest lines. I have done every faction that I possibly can. I have done every single side quest in this godforsaken game that you are actually able to do. There is a point pretty early in the game where you have to make a choice, and that actually will seal off an entire faction to you, which is interesting. So you actually cannot 100% this in one playthrough. There is no way possible. I kind of like that approach, though. Despite the fact it's going to agonize me for forever, that if I did everything correctly, I will finish with 985 gamer score out of 1,000. I'll be missing 15 points at the end of all this, but just the journey that the characters go on is awesome. I've struggled to get into Dragon Age in the past.
Yeah.
I played the first one briefly when it first came out, and it didn't grab me. I was not much into medieval fantasy at the time. Tried circling back to it a few years ago after I played through the Mass Effect trilogy, and at that point I just felt like Dragon Age Origins was really dated. It wasn't a game I really wanted to engage with. I tried Inquisition when it first came out. Again, really struggled with it, especially in the opening area to get out of it. I mean, I played a decent amount of Origins. I'll say that. I played a pretty decent amount of it. And it just didn't do it for me. So for me to fall in love with Veilguard the way I did, I was really shocked. I expected, the more I heard about this game, and when I started hearing more and more, I decided, okay, I'm not going to watch a lot of gameplay on this. I'm trusting that the combat's going to be good. I'm hearing the combat's really good. I played the warrior class in it, and it plays a lot like God of War, the new God of War games.
Okay.
Which I think is why I like it so much. So you're focusing on executing combos and stacking up status effects at the same time. You're really relying on having, a mage and a rogue in your party to balance that out for you. And I mean, I'm just a killing machine now.
Yeah.
I am applying necrosis to everything. There are necrotic spirits flying out of dead bodies at other bodies. It's great. I love it. Nice. This game gets so in depth though with the lore and with the storytelling. I don't feel like you had to play the previous games to appreciate this. If you played Inquisition especially, I feel like your appreciation will be much higher in this. That is the only game that directly is like, hey, do you have a save file you want to import, or do you have choices that you want to preset for what happened in that? And that comes into play the further you get into the game. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that, but I found it really cool as somebody who did not play Inquisition. They're pretty upfront about what happened in Inquisition.
Mm,
They don't shy away from it. It does reference Origins and 2, but in a way, it kind of retroactively makes Inquisition a soft reboot of the series.
mm,
And yet, at the same time, you almost feel like this could be the final Dragon Age game. It really feels like they're setting it up for finality here.
mm,
Um, Again, I really love the journey that you go on. I like the characters. Lucanus is this franchise's Garrus Vicarian, as far as I'm concerned.
mm,
Lucanus is fucking awesome. He maybe not the franchises, but he's at least this game's Garrus for
mm.
sure. I love Lucanus as a character. I really love Tasha's storyline. I cannot possibly gush enough about their storyline. I think it's great, especially where it ends at. I appreciate Emmerich's storyline. I like what they do with Varric here. If you played 2 or Inquisition, you're familiar with Varric. Of course, if you played Inquisition, you're very familiar with Solas. Solas may be one of the most fascinating characters in BioWare's repertoire. Like we're approaching best character since the Elusive Man was introduced territory here,
Ooh,
as far as I'm concerned. Like
that's quite a claim.
certainly the second best antagonist of any post uh KOTOR game that they've done.
Interesting.
So I like that, and I mean there's things you'll find out about Solas in the opening hours of the game. I don't even know if he is an antagonist, but he's also like not at the same time. Like
Hmm.
there are other threats besides him, and it's very much feels like a reluctant partnership. And you find this out in the prologue and everything of the game, but
Yeah.
I I've really enjoyed it. I think that the ability to not only choose your class but then customize your mastery within that class is really cool as well.
Mm,
I really appreciate this game. I think it's great. There are so many quests to do. I wish the areas had been just a little bit bigger, I think. But I like that you have to keep going back because you constantly unlock new areas through exploring and doing storylines with the factions and doing things with your partners and this and that. I mean, you'll have entire areas of the world closed off to you if you're not doing quest lines and partner quests.
mm,
And I like that. I like that they're easy to fast travel to for the most part and to explore. It's not bad. You can change out your party at any fast travel beacon. It's nice. It's a really nice game. I don't think you have to do too much equipment management in this. I, of course, was playing. I started out on the level above easy. I ended up having to bring it down because I was getting my ass whooped at a certain point. Like the combat is not a joke in this game. You got to be good or you're going to get absolutely destroyed.
hmm.
So I cranked it down to an easier difficulty just to like have a lot of fun and engage with the story. And I still feel like there were a couple of fights up to this point that I have genuinely had to try in. And that's kind of nice. But there's so much exposition, there's so many cutscenes. This is a great game. I mean, it's probably easily, even if you're playing on easy, it's probably like a 65, 70 hour journey. If you're playing on anything above that, you're in for 100 plus hours, I think. So I feel like the value is there. I got a lot of value out of Metaphor. I feel like I got the same value here in terms of bang for my buck. Great companion storylines, great exploration and set pieces. In another year, this potentially would be my game of the year. But I think as good as this is, as good as Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is, I think Metaphor is still like clearly better than those two. And
Hmm.
I don't think it's really a discussion, frankly.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing. I mean, that's just you're talking about maybe one of my favorite games I've ever played, and then two very, very, very well done RPGs also. Like this has really been year of the RPG for me. I think my top four are all mega long RPGs as of right now. So, Dragon Age, great game. Highly encourage you to play it if you like that universe, if you like BioWare games. This is definitely more action oriented. I think it appeals to people who maybe like Mass Effect better than Dragon Age. I think this is the most accessible one, combat and RPG wise. I
Mm-hmm.
wish your dialogue choices mattered just a little bit more in this game. Like when I select the condescending or sarcastic options, I really wish that came through more, Mass Effect style, and it doesn't. But for the first time in a long time, I have hope for Mass Effect 5, 4, 5, whatever one it's going to be. I have a lot of hope. And it's
Cool.
nice to be back. I would say, and this is somebody who never got an Inquisition, this is my favorite BioWare game since Mass Effect 2, I think. I don't think 3 is bad, but I think this game is better than Mass Effect 3.
Yeah.
The twists in 3 are better. Like the scene with Thane, for instance, is one of the greatest scenes in any video game for me.
Hmm.
The Kai Lang fight, the Citadel DLC, the final assault on the Reapers, the goodbyes to your team. Like, there's so many powerful moments in 3, but I don't think it hits. It's like, well, you kind of knew that was the end of the journey, though. Like, Veilguard, it very much feels like it should be the end of the journey,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if it's going to be. Like there's a lot of callbacks. If you've played previous games, I had to have a friend explain to me who some of these people were. There are people from Inquisition who show up right away. There are references to Dragon Age 1 and 2. There's a lot of them actually. Um, so yeah, I still think I think it's a really good game. It's worthy of playing. If you're on the fence, wait for it to go on sale. There's no shame in waiting for this game to go on sale.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a very, very, very well done game, despite the concerns I had for it. I'm so happy I was proven wrong. This I did. If you would have told me even a month ago, "Hey, Dragon Age, you're probably gonna have higher than Final Fantasy Rebirth," I would have laughed you out of the room.
Yeah.
Like even in the opening hours, I would have laughed you out of the room. There is a specific set piece at about the halfway point of the game that I went, "Oh shit, this game is being everything's being thrown on its head right now. This is one of the coolest. This is like one of the coolest levels I've done in a game in a long time." I have thought that like 3 different times. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Definitely recommend Dragon Age Veilguard. Can't believe
Nice.
I'm sitting here recommending another EA game. That's 2 years in a row.
2 years in a row.
Now, granted, it's like from their two best studios by far,
Mm.
BioWare and Respawn, but yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's good.
it's a good game.
Good.
Speaking of medieval fantasy RPGs, though,
Ooh,
I'm just going to
medieval.
launch right on into it.
Oh boy.
Avowed is up for pre-order today,
Oh boy.
and it's coming to BattleNet.
What?
Yes. They announced today there is a pop-up when you log into BattleNet that Avowed is going to be released on BattleNet as well. I actually don't think this is a bad idea. I think it's kind of smart to get it in front of that crowd that like plays a lot of COD, that plays a lot of World of Warcraft, that may not be thinking about this game. That's actually a pretty good idea to me. What was not a good idea is announcing a bitchin' steelbook. They did a steelbook with that awesome skeleton key art that we saw last year or earlier this
Yeah.
year, I guess now. But it only contains a code in the box.
There it is.
Along with 5 days early access, digital art book, digital soundtrack, a map of the world, and a note from the development team at Obsidian. I was really bummed when I saw this because I was like, man. At first, I didn't realize it was just a code. I was like, oh my god, if this is a physical version of this game, I'm going to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Then I saw it was just a code, and I got really, really upset.
Mm.
I do not like this trend. I do think I saw a comment on social media today that was like, yeah, we need to hold Microsoft's feet to the fire for this one. Like, you want something to actually get mad at them about, here it is. And like, this has been happening on the Switch since the day the Switch came out. Now,
Yeah.
granted, Nintendo's not doing that, but this has been happening since the day the Switch came out. A lot of games you go to try to buy physically that are bigger games are just codes.
Yeah.
because the game can't physically fit on the cart. Or
Yeah.
it's like, oh, you have a cart, but you just have the license on the cart and you still have to download the whole game.
Yeah.
I think what was it? The Doom 2016, I think, is like that.
Uh, s-
I know
uh,
some of the older Bethesda games were like that.
maybe.
I
Well,
think
I
Doom was
know
like that. I know
Wolfenstein.
the Wolfenstein games were.
Wolfenstein Youngblood was a code in the box.
Yeah.
Um, I think Doom Eternal was also a code in the box.
The point is, this has been
Yeah.
happening for a while. I don't like this trend. I don't like that Xbox is getting in on this trend.
Yeah.
At that point, just sell it digitally or like partner with. I hesitate to say partner with Limited Run because I think Limited Run's quality sucks,
Ugh.
and the amount of time I have seen to get those orders fulfilled is absolutely ludicrous. Like,
Yeah.
just put the fries in the bag, bro. If they partnered with somebody like I Am 8-Bit, I feel like that would be better. I've had nothing but good experiences with them personally. I
Yeah.
bought several vinyls through them. I would like to see them partner though. Like, if you don't want to pay for the manufacturing, that's fine. But there are a number of your fans who would appreciate a physical copy, or just like maybe you just make it a Microsoft Store exclusive or something.
Right.
I don't know. Like, or you partner with IM8-bit and like, oh, you can only buy it on the Microsoft Store or IM8-bit, and like you print to meet demand, something like that.
Right.
We shouldn't have to be sitting here begging for it for a AAA game. Something smaller like Pentiment or Hi-Fi Rush, I understood being digital only. I don't get it for a game from one of your key studios being a digital only release.
Yeah.
And then I've seen other folks be like, "Oh my god, Microsoft they need to delay this game. There's just no way that they can release it in February." They announced it for February before everything else did. It's not their fault that Yakuza, Monster Hunter Wilds, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 all decided to announce, "Hey, we're going to come out in February also." Like,
Yeah.
they already had this announced. Do I think they could move this up into late January? Sure. Will they? Probably not. Phil made some comments about today. We got several Phil Spencer interviews we got to talk about tonight, but he made
Yeah.
comments today about the whole reason that they pushed it back was because they had gaps in the Game Pass schedule. And when they initially announced the delay, everybody was like, "That's great. There's nothing coming out then." Now I see those same people being like, "They need to push it again. They need to push again. It's going to get completely steamrolled." Newsflash: almost every month has major games now. You're gonna tell me a major game from Obsidian isn't gonna get attention? Y'all said the same thing about Outer Worlds when it came out, and Outer Worlds sold like 5 million copies and was a Game Pass day one game.
Yeah.
So now, granted, this is only going to PC platforms and Xbox. This is not, as of now, going to PlayStation. But
For now.
for now, I do feel like Obsidian is one of those they kind of want to keep in their back pocket.
You say that, but they put Grounded on
So
and Pentiment.
I will say this. I think Grounded to me always made sense as going because it's a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
I think it is really, really hard to have a multiplayer game not on every platform at this point. I think it's actually kind of suicidal. Helldivers worked out, and there was no guarantee that was going to work either.
Mm-hmm.
And I would argue a lot of the reason that Helldivers stayed in people's minds and kept selling the way it did was because it was on Steam.
Yeah.
I don't think you would have had that if it stayed just on PlayStation. I don't think it would have been a Concord situation, but Helldivers 1 did have an audience.
Yeah.
This game still would have sold. It had the pedigree of being a Sony title no matter what. And for whatever reason, Concord just couldn't do it. I'm interested to see if they move Avowed or not. And unless they move it up a little bit, I don't think they can. Because 2025 is supposedly pretty packed on their end.
Yeah.
They've already said that Avowed is coming. We're going to talk South at Midnight here in a minute. South at Midnight's coming. It sounds like that's coming fast.
Mm-hmm.
That is looking like people are like, oh, they need to delay this to March or April. I don't think you can because I think that's South of Midnight. I think
Yeah.
South of Midnight is taking one of those months, and I think Doom is the other game that's taking that. I think all three of those are out before Summer Showcase.
Yeah.
They've also said Towerborn is finally going to come to early access on Xbox early next year. That may be the other reason they can't move.
Yeah.
They may be aiming to have like a game a month leading up to the showcase.
Yeah.
So, and then they've already confirmed Fable for next year, which if I was a betting man, Fable's the big holiday game.
Yeah, I would put money on that too.
So, and then you got Indiana Jones coming to PlayStation at the end of April. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't think they want to cannibalize themselves too much here, but they clearly want a steady stream of games coming to Game Pass that are first party. They want the value to be there, and you can argue that they started that they're starting that this month
Hmm.
because you've got Flight Sim just came out or is about to come out. You've got Stalker coming out next month. Is Indiana Jones, and then like we said, you got 4 first party games right off the bat next year.
Yeah.
So they're clearly trying to keep that momentum going, and good on you. You finally have games.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I
Finally.
know. I
How
was
long did
thinking,
it take us to get here?
yeah, I was thinking
Oh,
about
you
that
just had
today.
you had Black Ops. Black Ops kicked it all off. What
Yeah.
am I even saying?
Yeah, I was thinking about that today, right? It's like, okay, well, they kicked off Black Ops, then we
Mhm.
have Indiana Jones, and I was like, man, every like 6 weeks there's like a new game coming out for Xbox. It's
Which
crazy.
we've been saying for a while that when the dam finally broke, it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like next fall, you're gonna have a Call of Duty, you're gonna have Fable. I would wager they have probably 2 other games post showcase for next year.
Yeah.
And it's anyone's guess. The logical guesses at this point would probably be State of Decay and maybe Clockwork Revolution.
Yeah.
Those might be your best guesses at this point. I've been pretty optimistic that Perfect Dark would see the light of day, but if they have that many games, they may be like, no, take the time, take time.
Yeah.
It's what's another year at this point on that game.
Yeah. I mean, you might as well just hold out, right? I mean, you
Let's
might
get
as
some
well
more
just
story games out there. Yeah, maybe we kick off in early Q1 or Q2 2026 with Perfect Dark. I would say Gears E Day maybe gets held for the 20th anniversary of the franchise, but you're also running into the 25th anniversary of Halo at that point. So
yeah.
you've got and there's going to
I
be
mean,
scheduling things.
yeah, I mean, you're also cutting it pretty close to a Perfect Dark anniversary at some point too. Because what was that? 2000? 2000?
Yes, the first Perfect Dark was 2000. So I mean, you could theoretically get it out next year for a 25th anniversary.
Yeah, you could do a whole special edition
Man,
something
if
around that.
nothing else, I would actually really love if they remastered the original Perfect Dark. I don't know how
Well, they
hard that would
they
be to
did it.
do it.
They did. It was on Rare Replay.
Okay, well, a good version.
Hmm.
And like give me something updated. Give me something a little bit more updated.
Yeah.
And let's see what we can do. I don't think there's anything wrong with asking for that. Reintroduce people to Joanna Dark. Let's just pretend Perfect Dark Zero didn't happen. So, get folks hyped. Like do something kind of even if it's similar to what you did for GoldenEye, just put it out there.
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't know.
And I
There
mean,
there's things you could do.
yeah. There's a lot they could do
Do
with.
with the multiplayer. The multiplayer for that game was really unique.
Yeah.
And even if people only play it for like 2 months, there you go. Who cares? You got engagement out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
mean, do
even if
do
you
what do what Ghost of Tsushima did with their Legends mode. Just like throw it out there and see what happens. I mean, you can't lose because Game Pass makes it easy to
well, and
just
I think
try
with this
something.
also you would have the advantage of I know that the classic version is available through Switch Online. You could throw this over on the Switch easily.
Hmm.
You want to bring things to mobile? Bring the OG Perfect Dark game to mobile.
Yeah.
Charge $5 for it. There you go.
Yeah.
I don't know who could argue with that. Like you sell 200,000 copies. Okay, cool. How much money did it actually cost you to do that? Probably nothing.
Yeah.
Y'all are always complaining about how you need more things on Game Pass. There you go.
Yeah.
So I think that could be an avenue you could take, but scheduling it's going to become an issue for them if these projects are all hitting the benchmarks at the right time. Because well, let's talk South of Midnight and Indiana Jones previews. This was really the week of first party
Yeah.
news for
Yeah.
Xbox.
It was awesome.
You had previews of both of those. I stayed away from the Indiana Jones ones. I'm going to be totally honest. I did not watch any of the deep dive gameplay. We are less than a month away. I don't want any more of this game.
Yeah, I've seen what I need to see to. It also says Indiana Jones in the title, so you know. But so what surprised me actually was the South of Midnight stuff coming out. So,
Absolutely.
and you know what I really liked, Josh? You
What'd you
know
really
how
like, Corey?
it had that stop motion animation, which like
I
was
love it.
cool, but like, you can turn it off if you
You
want to,
can. You can, in fact, turn it off.
which is great for me. But you can leave it on, which is great for you.
You can turn it off. It does not turn it off in the cutscenes, and I think that's fair.
That's fine. That's totally fair.
The word going around about this game is that it is supposed to be I believe 12 to 15 hours long.
Hmm.
So
Perfect.
official game length is 12 hours plus possible exploration. So I think that's great. That's great.
Perfect.
We always talk about how we need shorter AAA games. I love that. 2-3 sessions, you could be done with that.
Yep. That's all I need.
That's all I need. They said that it's open world but still contained, and I like that. Like the levels are open exploration, but there's clear boundaries.
Hmm.
I did like that. It is apparently hitting 60 frames
Good.
on X and S.
Good. These games should be
I
optimized for S. I'm sorry, all first party games should be optimized for the S.
Yes. Listen, if Nintendo can do it on inferior hardware, there's no reason you can't.
Yeah.
There is no reason at this point. Like we have hit a brick wall in terms of what we can actually do graphics wise at this point.
Hmm.
Work on optimization. That needs to be the next thing that we focus on, is getting stable 60 frames 4K.
Yep.
That needs to be the next benchmark that we're pressing for.
Yep.
So I like it. I think this game looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks great.
The environments look great. I'm really hoping that third time's the charm for oh god, Compulsion. That's the studio's name, I think.
Hmm.
I'm hoping this is it. I'm hoping this is the one for them.
Yep. We've come a long way since Contrast, though. I gotta tell you,
We've come
that
a
game
long
was.
way since Contrast, and God, please don't let this be another We Happy Few. I was very excited for that too, and look how that one turned out. So
Yeah, but I think that game. To be fair to that game, not to be fair to that game, but they changed direction of that game halfway through development.
oh, I'm
Right.
aware.
Tried to add that story in and just tried to make it work with the original idea of the gameplay, and it just didn't pan out.
Yeah, I don't love that. I'm actually still really bothered by that to this day.
Yeah.
But that happens. When you get funding and when you don't, right? Funding
Yeah.
giveth and taketh away. Unfortunately.
Yeah. It'll do that. But I
So,
I, I think this game looks awesome.
it does.
I think the art style is amazing. And
I
the
think
fact
that's
that
its biggest asset. Is it looks
yeah.
so unique. Like I think there's only two other games this generation that I can be like, yeah, I think these were really unique that were Xbox exclusives, and that's Pentiment and Hi-Fi Rush in terms of their distinct styles.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
is another one. I think this looks great, and I'm all for the expression of doing something that's outside of your studio's comfort zone. We saw it happen with Sony last year when Sony gave that freedom when Sean Layden was like, "Yeah, go make Horizon instead of more Killzone. Yeah, okay, you've convinced me. We're gonna do another God of War over there and let you do it the way you want to do it." When he made choices like that, like, oh, Insomniac's gonna make a Spider-Man game instead of more Ratchet and Clank. Cool.
Hmm.
Look how well those decisions turn out. Go like Sucker Punch went from making infamous games, which were fine, they were like eights, to making one of the best games PlayStation has ever produced in Ghost of Tsushima.
Yep.
Okay, even Ben's studio, like, I don't think Days Gone was great, but they went from being the studio that was just known for doing Siphon Filter to here's an open world zombie game.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen what can happen with that freedom, and we've seen Xbox studios take advantage of that with smaller projects. Pentiment and Grounded immediately come to mind, and that's great. Those are coming from a major RPG producer, from Obsidian, right? Hi-Fi Rush was a success story, despite what apparently Matt Booty and the bean counters at Microsoft think. That game was a success. That was a horror studio doing one of the most bright and vibrant and loud games I've ever played.
Hmm.
So we've seen they can do. I mean, Rare went and did Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
If you want to go back that far, even. So their teams are so capable of making these games when they're given the freedom to. And that's why I love Clockwork Revolution is coming from a team that has only ever done CRPGs. And it looks outstanding from what we've seen so far.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking about today?
Fable is coming from the Forza team.
I know. You know what I was thinking about today though, Josh?
What were you thinking about
And
today, Corey?
this is like a Microsoft versus Xbox thing, but
Yeah.
it kind of made sense while I was thinking about it. And a lot of people want to get mad that the Xbox games are going multiplat, but like I wonder if part of the kind of decision making was, hey, our studios can still have creative freedom, but we need to get these games on more platforms to make up for that. And I was wondering if that was some sort of like thing they had to come to make sure the studios got to keep making the games they wanted to make.
Yeah, so I'm really glad you said that, because this brings me to the Bloomberg interview with Phil Spencer from earlier this week that Dina Bass did. And in it, Phil says, let me find the exact quote. I'm going to kind of jump around in this interview a little bit. I'm trying to find the exact one, because I really like that there's a lot of talk about hardware and delays that we'll get into. After releasing the first batch of Xbox games for PlayStation and Switch, Phil Spencer is pleased with the results. Microsoft will do more of that, he said, and won't rule out any game in Microsoft's stable. I do not see sort of red lines in our portfolio that say thou must not, he said. It's too early to make any sort of decision on the next version of Halo, he said. Following the Activision acquisition, Xbox cut more than 2,500 jobs and closed 3 game design studios, with the company exiting what management calls a difficult year amid challenging mobile game market. Spencer feels good about 2025. The Xbox business has never been more healthy, he said, citing growth in cloud and PC as well as console usage. The business is performing right now, and I think that means a much more healthy future for hardware and the games we build. So I'm going to kind of call bull on this a little bit when it comes to the red lines. I do think there are franchises that are untouchable for right now. And
Yeah.
I think that is, as much as the meme is, it's Halo, Gears, Forza, Fable.
Yep.
Those are
That's what I would have
untouchable.
said. Yep.
I think those 4 are untouchable. I think any game that is multiplayer that is not those franchises, though, I think is absolutely fair game. And I think part of the advantage of having Activision Blizzard and having Bethesda in your pocket is, okay, we can say, hey, these franchises, these are always going to stay with us. We'll put them on Steam. We might put them on Battle.net. We're not going to put these on rival platforms yet.
Yeah.
I do think that when those games come, and I do think it's a matter of when, not if, when those games come to other platforms, it's going to be when they have determined they don't really have a viable path forward in the console market anymore. And I think Phil is hedging his bets on they won't have to worry about that, because we talked about this in our interview with Jeff Gardner earlier this year. So much of the audience is shifting to PC at just an astounding rate. That PC and mobile is kind of where it's at this point. Consoles are becoming a smaller and smaller footprint, and I would say like the Switch is unique in that, because it does something the others don't do. And I think also, like, it's Nintendo games. Like, people are always going to show up. If the console is good, they'll show up. If the console's bad, they won't. And we've seen that in the past. You know, I saw a piece the other day. I believe it was actually on Boss Rush, funny enough, that said that it's time for us to, you know, appreciate the Wii U for what it was. And it's like, no, the Wii U was a bad console. You can be a bad console and still have good games. The Xbox One was a bad console and still had good games. The PlayStation 3 was a bad console and still had good games. Some of the best, actually. Like, you can have games and not be the market leader, and it can take years for people to discover said games. And that's fine. Like, that's not a problem. Like, I grew up loving the GameCube, and the GameCube was not a super popular console when I was a kid, despite what nostalgia tells you. It was not a popular console. Everybody had a PS2. I did not. I knew 2 other people with a GameCube as a kid. Like people I knew, because I was like 8-9 years old when GameCube came out. As I got older, my friends were buying Xboxes. We all wanted to play Halo. We want to play Halo. We want to play Grand Theft Auto. You couldn't play those things on a GameCube. So I think there's always supply and demand. In this interview, he also referenced, he referenced new hardware. I'm pretty thrilled about what they're saying. So, the executive who has repeatedly professed his admiration for handheld devices says the expectation is that we would do something in that category. Although the company is working on prototypes and considering what to do, Spencer also asked his group to look at the market and develop its vision based on what it learns. Such a device is still a few years out, he says. In the coming months, designers and engineers will focus on making the Xbox app work better on existing portable devices and partnering with hardware makers to make sure their products sync with Xbox games and experiences, he says. The Xbox app right now is good rather than great on some of these gadgets. Long term, I love us building devices, and I think our team could do some real innovative work, but we want to be informed by learning by what's happening now. I like that. I like that. Don't rush this. I do still think that this is the next console. I still think it is.
Yeah, I'm starting to think so too.
I do think you're going to see another 2 SKU system though. And I'm going to put it this way. If you can get the power of a Series S into a handheld, that thing is going to sell hotcakes.
Well, that's what the next Nintendo console is supposed to be.
Yeah, next Nintendo console is, I believe the specs are supposed to be somewhere between the PS4 Pro and the Series S.
Yeah.
It's supposed to land, because that's a little bit of a gray area between those. It's supposed to land right in between that. Obviously, you're going to get better with the hardware the more you work on it too. People are going to get more and more out of it. That is pretty good for a mobile device.
Yeah.
It's about where the Steam Deck is, right around there, I would say, probably.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what they do here. I think that the key for an Xbox handheld, though, like we said so many times before, is going to be getting the Steam Store, getting the Epic Game Store, getting GOG, getting Itch. You got to get those stores on your device, or you can't launch it. Straight up. And mobile Windows has to be a better experience. It has to be.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, this device needs to be easy to upgrade the memory in, and needs to be easy to upgrade like thumbsticks and things like that. You need to be able to mod this device. You can't restrict that like a traditional console.
Right.
If you like, especially after PlayStation has allowed you to upgrade your own SSDs this generation, that's one of the only things that I think really is like a big knock on the Series X hardware wise, is I can't upgrade my memory. You have to use proprietary memory cards, which is absolute bullshit. Why are we at a point where I can't just use USB drives?
It's such a
without rewriting them and stuff.
Such a big step backwards.
It basically, they're only like really good for cold storage, and they're outdated. Everything is USB-C now.
Yeah. What a that was a bad decision.
It was one of the worst.
Yeah,
it was very bad.
I feel like at first some of us kind of thought it might be a good idea, especially because you had to basically take the PlayStation apart to put a new hard drive in, essentially. But it turns out that
and then they started making them with the heat sinks built in, and that was the big kicker.
Yeah,
was when they first announced that you were going to have to do your own heat sinks and everything else. Now they come with them built in, and it's just like I have not upgraded mine simply because I don't use my PlayStation 5 that much. I use it for exclusives and for the occasional indie that releases on PS Plus.
Yeah.
I cannot fathom that being your main console and you not having upgraded from the initial storage. Because it's bad. It's bad. There is no reason that these consoles anything should be launching with less than like 2 terabytes at this point, with the size of games.
Yeah.
So I think that would be the other thing that would hold a potential handheld, is they got to see how much memory they could possibly cram into that thing. Not just RAM, but how much onboard space could they cram into it,
right,
and still keep this thing affordable.
Yeah.
Because you have to offer it at I suspect by the time this comes out, 1 terabyte is going to be standard. They're still selling these with 512. That 512 doesn't get you anything. You're going to have an expandable micro SD slot also. You're just going to have to do that. As much as Microsoft may not want to, you have to. So I'm curious, like, what would a bundle look like for this? Would a bundle for this give you the handheld, a dock, and a controller or something, so that
Yeah.
hey, really promote this as we're giving you everything in one box.
Yeah, I think you have to do that at least from the start, right?
I
Like
think you
you
do
I
too.
think yeah, I think you definitely have to do that. I
So,
mean,
but that is
I think the Steam Deck gets away with it because your primary thing that you play on is a PC
right,
theoretically. So like
right.
they can get away from with that, but like Xbox is for console players. They have to do that at least at the beginning.
I agree. I agree. I think you're going to have to do it right there at the beginning, and I mean, I like that. I like that idea in theory.
Mhm.
So, other tidbits that Phil talked about in this interview, I this part particularly ground my gears up. So, I'm actually jumping back to the beginning of this interview. After a tough year, Microsoft's video game chief is still looking at acquisitions and charting how to compete and partner in the markets for handheld game devices and mobile stores. Deals that add geographic diversity, including in Asia, might be worthwhile, Phil Spencer said in an interview Tuesday at Bloomberg. Buying another mobile company would add to titles Microsoft picked up in its $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard last year. We definitely want to be in the market, and when we can find teams and technology and capability that add to what we're trying to do in gaming at Microsoft, absolutely we will keep our heads up. Still, there's nothing imminent, and the very large deals are probably off the table at present as the company is spending a lot of time absorbing Activision and Blizzard employees, he says. Microsoft wants to diversify the teams working on games by looking more to China, he says. The company developed a new mobile version of Age of Empires by partnering with Tencent, and Tencent released a game globally in October. It's been a good area for us to learn from creative teams that have real unique capabilities. The real opportunity is to partner with creative teams in China for global. I have a problem with this. You are talking about acquisitions after you just closed 3 studios and sold one off. Mind you, one of those studios was in Asia, and part of the reason that we were given by Matt Booty was, well, it's hard to collaborate with that team being in Japan. What in the unholy fuck is happening over there? I just want to know.
Nobody's on the same page. That's the
Nobody's
problem.
on the same fucking page, and I feel like this is him going off the company line and saying, no, I still want this despite what the bean counters want.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about this, because if you're going to partner with like Tencent and NetEase and stuff, fine, whatever. I feel like that's almost inevitable if you want to get your games to Chinese and Korean audiences. I feel like
Mhm.
you almost have to do that. I don't even know what to begin to say about other studios, though. Like, you're seriously still looking at studios, and I don't know if that's a company line or if that's his personal opinion that they need to add more. You cannot manage what you have now, and that has been proven.
Mhm.
Prove to us for several years you can handle your shit, and maybe we can entertain this again.
Yeah.
Like, I would have rather y'all gone for this than done Activision Blizzard, frankly.
Mhm.
I think just about everybody would have. Like, you needed to prove to us you could handle your studios and handle Bethesda first, and instead you spent $69 billion, which we've always suspected was a Satya Nadella move.
Yeah.
But I don't like this long term for Xbox.
Nope.
And you're still pushing the idea of this mobile game store, which is talked about further down in the interview. It's talked about, we just discussed some mobile games. So I don't know what you do. Company's planned online store for mobile games has been delayed as the group does additional research on the market. Sarah Bond had announced the store in May with a planned release date of July, but staffers are still talking to mobile devs, including those responsible for Candy Crush and Call of Duty Mobile, to figure out a plan. As regulatory cases involving iOS and Android mobile stores work their way through courts in various countries, Microsoft still doesn't have an effective way to get its own store on mobile phones. A web store would mean somebody doesn't have to go into the App Store to install something, but you still have to have a way to find the store, Spencer said. If we're just hoping, like, if we build it, they will come, I'm going to bet that doesn't work. That means Xbox has to make its store unique for players and figure out what will draw content creators. At the same time, it's preparing for a world where Apple and Google mobile devices are more open to Xbox. I think the ball is moving in the right direction, and I think this idea of open platforms where users have more choice, creators have more choice, you can see the momentum, right? I do agree on that. I feel like that's coming. Epic versus Apple was a very big turning point in all this. Epic getting to put Fortnite back on iOS in the EU was huge.
Mm-hmm.
That was huge. Like, the US courts don't give a shit at this point.
Oh no.
But, and it's going to get even worse, but the EU is going to drag these companies kicking and screaming. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
There is, and this kind of leads into, another story that we were going to talk about tonight, which is their new marketing campaign of this is an Xbox.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much any screen you can imagine. It's TVs, it's consoles, it's TVs, it's handhelds like the ROG Ally, it's tablets, it's cell phones. Like, all of these are Xbox devices. They had a coordinated marketing campaign with the Amazon Fire Sticks earlier this year.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I think that's cool, but your cloud servers have to be significantly better to be able to run a campaign like that.
Yeah.
Especially if you're trying to promote games like Call of Duty being on that, you're going to run into problems. Because I was getting pretty huge lag playing earlier today. And that was in the middle of the day on a console with a wired connection and I have 1 terabyte internet.
Right.
So, what terabit? Not terabyte. I have gigabit fiber. So if I'm struggling to run that with a wired connection on a console that is more powerful than a cell phone or a tablet or a laptop browser, imagine how that's going to go for everybody else.
Right.
Not great, I'm going to say.
Yeah. Does
not inspire confidence.
Does not inspire confidence.
It could, however, be significantly worse.
Yeah. It's I mean, I don't even know what to say sometimes, man. It's just sometimes I just wonder what's going on. I don't know. Josh.
I'm not even gonna say that. I'm always wondering at this point.
Yeah.
I really, really, really want them to be successful. And I don't want this to be like, oh my God, Josh is shitting on Xbox. Like,
it's not that we don't want them to be successful. We want the messaging to be clear, and we want the everybody to be on the same page, and we want the games to be good, and we just want that's what I want. I don't mean to speak for you, but I assume communication and being on the same page and success are all things that people like to be on the same page with. So,
oh boy,
yeah,
oh boy,
that's how I feel, man.
Yeah. So I do think like accessibility and portability is where we're going next, and getting stable frame rates. So yeah. I do see a 2 SKU thing coming for next generation, but hey, that's still a ways off apparently.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go from here?
Man, where do we go from here? I mean, Death Stranding is something. I don't know, where do we go from here, Josh? I was excited to be here tonight, and then now some of this stuff is just making my head hurt.
Some of this is just making our heads hurt. We got some franchise news.
Yeah.
Death Stranding self-dropped on Xbox 5 years to the day after its initial release, and apparently Hideo Kojima now fully owns the IP.
Yeah. I mean, that's good, right? I mean, they've got that show coming out. He probably wants to own that stuff to make sure it's all under his control.
Yeah, so is it a show or is it a movie? I know he's doing it with A24.
It's A24. I don't exactly know.
I think it's a movie.
It's yeah.
I'm looking it up now.
Yeah. And I wonder if this was originally written into the contract somehow, because 5 years to the day tells me that was a contractual decision.
100%. 100%. That's what it feels like to me. 5 years to the day. So now I'm kind of looking to next April and being like, are we going to see Final Fantasy 7 remake 5 years to the day after?
Yeah.
So a little curious on that one. I do think it's interesting that it just stealth dropped, no fanfare. I mean, remember previously Death Stranding came to PC Game Pass
Yeah.
because 505 published it.
Yeah.
So I do find that interesting. Obviously, anybody who's like, Kojima doesn't want to work with Xbox, like, shut the fuck up, you nerd. Like that.
Yeah.
That also tells me that On the Beach will eventually come to Xbox at some point. It'll probably be another 5 years, but it'll come. And just like we've always said, like OD, that's going to go to PlayStation after like 2 years, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe shorter than that. I have to imagine that was part of Kojima's deal. As I'll put it on your console and on Steam, but I'm going to PlayStation as fast as I can with this game.
Yeah.
And if all the rumors we've heard, this is the game supposedly that PlayStation did not want to publish.
Right.
This was the rumored, formerly planned for Stadia game.
Yeah.
So interested in that. Always like seeing what Kojima does, but God, Death Stranding might just be too weird for me, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, now that it's on Xbox, I might try it, but I mean,
I'm not. If I'm gonna try it, I'll just try it through PS Plus at this point. It's on there. I just have had no desire to go play it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not a Kojima guy. I'm not gonna lie. I think what he does is interesting, and a lot of it is fascinating. But like, I don't know, man. Just not a guy. Just not a Kojima guy. I've tried.
I love Metal Gear Solid. I'm not a Death Stranding guy.
The only Metal Gear I've ever played, Josh, was Ground Zeroes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
Metal Gear 1 and 2 are still some of the best games of all time, I think, especially Twin Snakes. I really, really, really like Metal Gear 1 and 2. I couldn't get into 3. 4, I think, is great. I just wish it would come to a modern platform so I could play it again. Played it in my youth pastor's house when I was in high school. Probably not the kind of game you should be showing people when you're a clergyman, but it's okay.
It's fine.
It's fine, he says. Couple of other small things. We do have one bigger story to get to that we'll do at the end here. But Fortnite OG is a permanent mode. I know this doesn't do much for either of us, but that's creating some pretty big waves because the OG season was immensely popular last year. And fans were a little bit disappointed to find out that this OG Season 2 was not really that. It was Season 2 remix. It's Season 2 remixed with rap icons. And they are not overly jazzed about that from what I understand. I have not played this short.
The kids these days don't enjoy some Snoop Dogg and Eminem?
I mean, I do. I think they're there for Ice Spice, but I enjoy Snoop Dogg and Eminem.
What now?
Ice Spice.
That's a real person?
That is a real rapper. Yes, she's a real rapper.
Oh my God.
Yep. I will say the event that launched this was pretty damn cool. They did a live concert in Times Square that simultaneously aired in Fortnite, and that was really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
It aired in the Battle Royale mode, though, like not on
not like a watch with your friends mode.
It was as long as you loaded in with your friends.
Yeah.
All combat was turned off inside of the area. It forced you into it to watch it, and it was cool because you had the screen, but like the whole world around you like changed to mimic Times Square too, which was kind of cool.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
I thought it was cool. I think Epic does some cool shit like this from time to time.
You have to give it to Fortnite and Epic for
when
doing
you got fuck
really
you money, you can do just about whatever you want.
Yep.
So I do think that was
Nintendo though. No Nintendo characters.
No Nintendo characters. They've tried. It's not for lack of trying.
I know. That was a joke.
Nintendo basically said they would be open to it, but they wanted the characters just locked to be played on the Switch, and Epic was like, why would we do that?
Yeah, and they also don't want some of their characters to use guns, which apparently is a thing now because Disney has skins in there, and the Incredibles are not allowed to use guns. They're only playable in non-combat things.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
which would be pretty crazy if you saw Mr. Incredible with some sort of like assault rifle.
Listen, all I know is Lightning McQueen is coming to Battle Royale, so I'll still be able to run people
Well,
over
wait,
with
what?
Lightning McQueen. Yeah,
Really?
Lightning McQueen and Mater are coming to Fortnite. Yep,
Oh my god, that's amazing.
it's at some point next season. So I do think this is cool for people who enjoy it. I think this is kind of what Reload was supposed to be, but I do wonder if you're like diluting a little bit too much across your modes now.
Hmm.
I don't hate it. It's whatever. I would rather them do this than be doing like I think Lego Fortnite has been mildly successful. I think Fortnite Festival and Fortnite Racing have just flopped.
Mm.
I think I cannot believe Harmonix has been reduced to this, but that's where we are.
Well, I mean, whatever keeps them
Um
open, I guess, at this point. You know,
man, you're not lying.
I'm not.
I like Fortnite Festival, but it's no Rock Band or Guitar Hero, that's for sure. I tried using the new guitar that was released from
Mm,
Harmonix, and it's a rough time in there.
yikes.
Uh, a sequel to Hogwarts Legacy is in production and a very big priority for WB Games. WB Games said that they are going to
Shocking.
refocus their efforts in gaming around Harry Potter, Mortal Kombat, and DC, specifically Batman.
Shocker. Oh,
Shocking.
what should we do? Make more games that sell? Okay.
Monkey's Paw Curls, you get Gotham Knights too.
Yeah. Well, look, man, WB, man, I don't understand what they're trying to do here. I just sometimes they're like, I don't know, like like when Hogwarts Legacy it was announced that it sold like 20 million units or whatever, and then like the very next day they said we're gonna focus on games as a service and free to play games, and then like
Yep.
they have two that instantly fail. Almost, it's like what are you doing? Like, I don't know. They
I do
clearly
not
don't
love this.
they clearly don't care about the controversy around J.K. Rowling because they're doubling, tripling down on Harry Potter, right? So like, whatever. But
Yeah,
it's just,
she
oh
is
my
she
god,
is intimately involved in the new series, and to
yeah,
make matters more interesting, this game is apparently planning to coordinate storylines with the upcoming HBO series. I would
I saw.
imagine this is just so you can use the same actors voicing the professors.
I would imagine that, and I would also imagine that maybe this will be like a single player game as a service type thing where they can just keep adding expansions to it over the years.
Yeah, I
That would be my
there's
guess.
only so much you can do with this IP.
Yeah,
And I feel like Hogwarts Legacy is the only like aside from Lego Harry Potter, the only like passable Harry Potter game we've ever gotten. Like I personally I did not play Legacy. My partner played through the whole thing. I know you played through it. Y'all really liked it.
I loved it, man. It
Everybody else I talked to it did not like it.
it was a really hard 8, but
It
it
was a
went
really
hard.
hard eight. And that's fine. Like we love eights, but I don't know. I can't bring myself to like and I admittedly really, really loved the books as a kid. I like watching the movies periodically, but all the shit around J.K. Rowling, rereading those books as an adult, like there are some things that you're like, oh my god, that actually happened.
Yeah, but that's a lot of things from like the early
Yes,
2000s.
I'm not, and
I'm
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm saying that that combined with the views she continues to espouse very loudly and very publicly, kind of ruins it for me.
yeah, no,
It just
that's
makes me
fair.
go, all right, I'm done. Like I'm done. I have a line in the sand that I don't want to cross. And that's me
Yeah.
personally. I'm not preaching at anybody else. You are free to make your own choice. I just I'm not going to support somebody who talks that way about people that I care about.
Hmm.
Like we just had a 40-minute conversation about this last week about, treating people with respect, about, caring
Yeah.
about the people in our lives when, the people in power don't, or people with the biggest stages don't care. And I'm this is kind of part of me following through on that. Like I'm personally not going to choose to engage with it. And that it's whatever.
No, I
It's
mean that's
whatever. It
that's
was a
fine. I think
great part
people.
of my life, but yeah.
I mean, I think people need to do that with things that
Yeah.
they're passionate about, right? I mean, I that's totally up to each person, right?
Right.
So but like clearly there is a majority of people out there that don't care about this type of stuff,
Hmm.
or maybe even don't even know what's going on, right? And they
And
just
that's fine. Like this is part of the problem of being chronically online, right?
yeah.
Like I cannot exist in like ignorant bliss anymore,
Oh,
so to
wait,
speak.
hey, what if it was your job, Josh, to be online every day
Oh my
on
god,
several
like
social media platforms?
I could not do it, dude. It does enough to me, like mentally, just being on it regularly, and like I'm glad that like that's one side effect of what happened last week. It's just like I'm like, all right, I'm done. I'm
I
done with
know.
social media.
I
I'll
know.
keep my Instagram for fun cat videos.
I was like, everybody around me was like, I'm staying offline today. I'm like, oh my gosh,
You can't.
I, I gotta push through. I gotta muscle through all this
Hmm.
garbage.
So that's
Oh,
where I come down on that. Like whatever, if you want to play it, fine. I think the smartest thing that they did with Legacy was getting away from J.K. Rowling's direct work.
mhm.
That was the smartest thing they possibly did.
Yeah,
And hey, by all accounts, it seemed to go over pretty decently. So hey, more power to you. I just kind of wish you kept with that and weren't walking that back. So
yeah.
in non-Harry Potter franchise news, supposedly it is claimed skins for Master Chief, the Doomslayer, and Marcus Phoenix are all planned for Black Ops 6.
That's amazing. You know why? Because Doom and the Dark Ages is coming out very soon, and maybe they
And
should.
also, like, hey, how about some brand synergy here? Yeah, people have been calling for this for a little while, and it makes sense, right? Like, why wouldn't we have these characters here? Why wouldn't we use them as skins in other games? It
Mhm.
makes sense. You have some of the most iconic characters ever. Put them in here. Nobody gives a shit if you want to put like Ghost or Captain Price in something, but you want to put Chief, Doomslayer, and Marcus Phoenix in fucking Call of Duty, you're gonna see whole lobbies of these characters.
Yeah,
I'd rather have this than fucking Terrifier.
I mean, I'm gonna be in there playing again. I'll tell you that.
I will 100%. I swear, if they announce a Master Chief skin, which the rumor is this was supposedly planned for Modern Warfare 3. My personal conspiracy theory that I talked about with our friend Ray earlier today was that I think this was originally planned to be a bundle released the minute that Modern Warfare 3 came to Game Pass in late
Mhm.
July. And then they saw the positive public reception to Black Ops 6 and said, we're holding it for the game that people can use this skin for a couple of years
Yeah.
in, instead of releasing it at the very, very end of Black Ops or of Modern Warfare 3. Put it
Yep.
in a game that is on the good track. By and large, seems to be the best received Call of Duty in a generation,
Mhm.
at least.
Yeah.
So you could say probably pretty reasonably back to at least the Modern Warfare reboot. I would go as bold to say as back to maybe Black Ops 3 as the best like overall received one, and I don't think that's a huge stretch.
Yeah.
So hey, good for you. Good for you using your brand synergy to put these characters in. Now, when are they coming to Overwatch? I feel like that's the next logical step if anybody played Overwatch.
Well, it's going back to classic mode. It's getting that 6v6 mode again. So
Going back to classic mode. Yep. Classic mode is coming to Overwatch. I believe it's already out, actually, now that I
yeah, I
think
think it
about
came
it.
out
Did it come out already?
Tuesday. It
It either
either
came
came
out
out
Tuesday or
Tuesday.
it's coming out Tuesday, or it's coming out this next Tuesday. One of the two.
Yeah.
November 12th. It came out November 12th. Play the original hero roster in 6v6 for a limited time starting November 12th. I have a feeling they're going to have to make that permanent. I have a
Yeah.
really strong feeling that's going to have to be
I
permanent.
I wonder if this game is going to get entirely reworked at some point and just be called Overwatch again at some point.
I would almost guarantee it.
Um, because I wonder if that game is just going to get like, hey, let's look at the first 2 years of this game. What did people like? What did people not like?
Mm-hmm.
Let's kind of revert back to that, and we'll just keep adding the heroes. We'll add other Blizzard and Xbox characters to it maybe, and kind of figure it out that way. But let's figure out what people really liked. Good
Yeah.
times, huh?
We got two more stories to get to really quickly. Steven Totillo also got an interview with Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer did interviews with everybody this week through his Game File newsletter over on Substack. It's a great read, by the way. It's one of the very few Substacks that I actually subscribe to. But I forgot to update my credit card details, so my sub has lapsed and I can't read it. So I have to read the Cliff Notes version of this. But in part one, it's a two-part interview because it's so long. Phil Spencer is bullish on World of Warcraft and thinks Stalker 2 will end up on some Game of the Year lists. Says that Microsoft's PC only games, aka games like Aura and Age of Empires, not coming to Xbox are mostly an anomaly. That would imply to me that they want these to get to day and date, but if it makes sense to release it on PC first, you release it on PC first. I think the most glaring one is Towerborn. That's very weird that did not come to Xbox right away.
Mm-hmm.
And then Game Pass pacing led to the avowed delay, allowing for more polish, which is a sign of how they will manage a growing portfolio. So, hey, Steven Totillo does a great one. So, I enjoy that. He also apparently brought it up unprompted in the interview with Steven Totillo that Vessel of Hatred was not Play Anywhere enabled, and that he was already talking to people about that as a sign that they need to have more synergy with BattleNet going forward. We've long thought, hey, BattleNet's probably going to get rolled into the Xbox store at some point. Just make it all into one big launcher. They could learn a lot from BattleNet, in my opinion.
I would almost put it the other way around and just make BattleNet the new Xbox launcher, but just
I think they should, but you know how Microsoft is.
Yeah. Man.
It's just
there are so many easy decisions they could just make. Sorry, that was my.
I do like this exact quote from the interview with GameFile. We think about the Xbox platform as the Xbox console, PC, and cloud. We want all the games playable across all those. We want all games to be play anywhere. That sums up the marketing campaign in a nutshell. He also apparently dropped a hint that he knows Black Myth Wukong is coming to Xbox. The rumor is it will be announced as it's available now thing at the Game Awards, much like Baldur's Gate 3 was last year. I do not have anything else. I don't think from this particular interview.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, man. First of all, Phil Spencer looks like he's lost some weight.
Phil Spencer is not looking good.
Second of all, he looks exhausted.
I think that this Activision acquisition has killed him.
Yeah.
That dude looks like he's aged a decade in the last year.
Yeah. It's
take it from somebody who grayed pretty drastically over the course of about 18 months.
Yeah.
Stress will do a number on you. And his life is, I imagine, much more stressful than mine has ever been.
I don't know, Josh. The Mavericks are pretty stressful.
God.
Unlike the Cavs.
Dude, I don't even want to talk about the Mavs right now. The Mavs are tied up with the Jazz in the second quarter right now. I don't even want to fucking talk about it. I'm disgusted. 3 straight games of getting screwed by refs in the final 2 minutes, only to lose by a point in each game. I'm actually nauseated. We do have one final story, Corey. And this one, we haven't had to talk about layoffs in a little while, but we are going to talk about America's biggest video game union going on strike because it directly affects Xbox. This is from Shannon Liao over at Inverse. Great writer, by the way. Love her stuff. Workers in Maryland and Texas are walking off the job, claiming the companies failed to address their remote work concerns. The bargaining table has begun outsourcing quality assurance work without the union's agreement. ZeniMax, which Microsoft bought in 2020 worth $7.5 billion, has been home to the nation's largest video games union starting in January 2023 and attracted more than 300 QA workers. While the union has been reluctant to share bargaining updates and said Microsoft has made progress with it on that front, it also said the one-day strike was a necessary step forward as its request had gone unanswered. The union fired an unfair labor complaint against ZeniMax in October. Worth remembering, Phil Spencer promised when they unionized, he was not going to stand in the way. Microsoft was not going to get in the way. They would meet them at the table. And a lot of us were kind of afraid that was just a little PR line to get things through legally for the Activision acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
Really ashamed to be seeing this happen. I'm not interested in reading the Microsoft statement, but Becca Daughtry said in an emailed statement, "We respect our employees' rights to express their point of view as they have done today. We will continue to listen and address their concerns at the bargaining table." Whatever. Raina Eichner, quality assurance test lead who helps supervise employees who test Bethesda games, told Inverse she was excited and looking forward to the, quote, fun event. I know that sounds weird, but we're all really looking forward to coming together and spending time together. Everyone understands this needs to happen. This is what needs to be done to move on. We're all just kind of ready for it. The union is looking to limit percentage of QA testers the company outsources in comparison to the number of full-time workers present in its bargaining unit. It would not share details on where Microsoft has chosen to outsource labor to. The union is also seeking a more flexible remote work policy. Workers are currently required to go to the office twice a week, and many, the union says, are being denied their remote work requests. They've continually given us their first proposal again and again, and it's become obvious that our different mobilization tactics have not worked. June Burdell, a senior QA tester at Rockville, Maryland's branch, said that several testers would be forced to move or find a new job if they had to come into the office all 5 days a week because they were hired during recent remote work years under different circumstances. Striking is not fun or ideal, but there's a satisfaction in having a concrete physical action we can do to fight for better working conditions. Hopefully, we can convince them to stop dragging their feet and meet us at the table. Yeah, Microsoft, get on that shit. QA is good. QA is really hard to come by these days. We've seen the disaster that it is when it gets outsourced for games like Destiny.
Yeah.
What happens when you don't meet your employees and you decide to they just decide to straight up fire them all. But 300 QA workers and you're still outsourcing work? I want to know what's going on that you're
Yeah. What
needing
are
to
you
outsource the
QA?
work.
What are you QAing? Like,
Well, so it's worth noting this is for all of ZeniMax. It's worth noting. So that encompasses, ZeniMax
yeah,
Online, which ESO I imagine has a lot of QA. You've
that's
got
fair.
the ones that test for 76, that test for Starfield. I assume they're testing Indiana Jones and Doom right now. Any VR applications they may do. Like, I still think 300 is a really high number, but it's not like totally out of the realm of possibility considering you have 2 ongoing online games and some mobile titles.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Can't
just,
forget about the Elder Shelter.
God, yeah, I don't know. I just don't feel like that warrants 300 people, but that's, anyways.
I don't either. I wonder if they're using them for like other Microsoft projects maybe as well, and as a result, since they're using them for other projects, maybe they're outsourcing the QA for things like 76. I don't know. I just feel like you have 300 employees, maybe manage your employees better.
Yeah.
Maybe distribute the work a little bit more efficiently. I don't know. I have no idea what goes into this. I am armchair quarterbacking it here, but I cannot imagine that it's that difficult to figure this out.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. Anyways, QA, it's important.
QA is very important.
I think everyone deserves the chance to be treated fairly. In any case, I know I kind of sounded negative about 300 people, but I feel like if you're employed, you should be treated fairly. And if you're in a union, you should be granted the union, whatever they.
Honestly, Microsoft leadership needs to just shut the fuck up and deal with the union.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that they're not even willing to meet your employees part way. You just keep giving them the same hardline first offer over and over and over again is ridiculous.
Right.
And I don't understand why QA is a job you need to come into the office for either. Plenty of studios do this remote, and I don't know why you can't.
Right.
So, the fact that this industry is not shifting more towards remote work is just and especially with the economic conditions, it's going to severely limit the talent pool they can pull from. Also,
yeah.
So, And how many times have we heard of people working in player support or QA that have gone on to like have key roles at studios down the line? Dylan, the CM for Bungie, he's their global community lead now, started out in player support. So, like, you can't outsource everything. Like, eventually the bill comes due no matter what. And, like, are you doing this just to, like, save a couple $1,000s a worker or something? Because if that's the case, like, somebody is doing all this and pissing off 300 workers, if not a lot more, just to move the decimal point a little bit. And I can't imagine that that's worth it.
Yeah.
So, I do not have anything else.
Yeah, I don't really have anything either. I just it's just been a busy week, man. I just feel so, my brain is like 1,000 different places, and
Yep.
traveling next week is going to be something.
Yes. I cannot wait for you to be able to talk about that.
Yeah. Not yet though, Josh.
I know, not yet.
Not yet, but I will. I will be. And maybe next year we'll be doing this from a different spot, Josh, out west, we'll say.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I'm gonna be traveling next week, and anyways, Josh, let's get out of here. Let's go watch some basketball and play some games and eat something. I don't know.
I had a delicious Irish stew tonight for dinner. So
ooh, nice.
That's very good. Costco, baby.
Costco. Nice. I want to thank everybody out there for watching and or listening to Xbox Casuals, the Xbox podcast. You can find us every other Friday on your podcast service of choice. Check out Tower Casuals, our sister show. Josh, thank you for your time tonight, as always. Where can we find you?
For right now, you can find me in the Tower Casuals Discord. I have made a Blue Sky. I don't know if I'm going to actually use it though. I am off Twitter. My Twitter is going away as of tonight. I don't plan to use it anymore. I'm done. I'm done with social media. Even if Blue Sky doesn't end up being the end all that a lot of us would like it to be. And it does feel like classic Twitter over there. I'm just burned out on social media. It's so negative. Everything on Facebook and Twitter is just bots constantly.
Oh, I know, dude. Facebook is even worse.
I'm done. I'm so done. I'm completely over it. I can't do this. So I was genuinely a happier person before social media, I think. So I'd like to go back to just not caring, essentially, unless I have to for work. So
yeah.
For right now, you can find me. You can just find me in Discord. You can hit me up there. My DMs are always open.
Yeah, you can follow me at I am Corey in HD on socials. I'm mostly on Blue Sky now. Twitter is mostly automated stuff and work related things. So if you want gaming stuff, I guess Blue Sky or whatever. Xbox Casuals and Tower Casuals are both on Blue Sky now as well, which you'll get episode updates and stuff like you always do there. So yeah, good times. Blue Sky, man. It's something. It's something. But everybody out there, I want to thank you for watching and or listening. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.